Hey everybody, how are we doing? So I've been left alone tonight to do technology on my own. So if there's anyone here, can you put in the comments box that you're here so that I know that you're here and I know it's not just me hanging around all by myself. Is there anybody here? Ooh. Right, I can see people on the screen now. So can you guys see me, hear me? Amazing. So it looks like there's a bit of a delay on the me talking and you commenting, but that's fine. So we're going to get started in a few minutes. Just going to wait for everybody to come on. Let me just explain what has kind of prompted this session tonight. And also, let me just check that I'm recording this because, again, I'm alone with technology tonight. So let me just check. Otherwise, there'll be no replay. And that's no good, is it? Right. Okay, cool. It looks like it's recording. Right. Okay, good. Who have we got then? Who have we got? Marie, Frankie. Hey, Frankie, how you doing? Steve. Jack, Lynn, what you saying? Angeli, Maria, Lisa, amazing. Clayton, Paul, bloody hell, there's loads of you. Oh, and Emma and Chris and Jack all together. I'm not surprised, actually. That makes sense, doesn't it, really? You're probably all in your lovely little office. Who else we got? Roger, Rachel, Jeff. Amazing. Okay, so just to explain what prompted this session tonight, and I guess explain what we're going to do for the next I don't even know how long it's going to take. I've literally got no firm plans for this evening. So the plan for tonight is to do a live deal appraisal on a rent to rent. Okay, so on this screen I can see numbers of people just registering and logging in, so we'll probably actually start it in about 5 minutes or so just to get everybody in. So in the meantime, if you've got any questions at all that you want me to answer tonight, can you put them in the comments? Because what will happen, I'm going to do the live, hopefully I'm going to be able to share my screen with you guys. And I'm going to ask you a few questions in a minute. But if you've got any specific questions you want to actually me to answer tonight, let's keep it rent to rent focused tonight, I think. Because whether you're sourcing to keep rent to rents or you're sourcing to sell rent to rents, it doesn't really matter to me. The process is the same. So if you've got any questions specifically about rent to rent tonight, then put them in the comments and I'll make sure I answer them for you. So the reason that I'm doing this session tonight is because I get asked a lot about the numbers bit. And I think we talk, or people that do what I do in terms of the training and the content and all the other bits and pieces that we do. Why am I drinking from a measuring jug? I'm not actually drinking from a measuring jug, Stephen Gorman. It is my, I don't know if you can see that, my Sausage and Cider Festival mug. They're stackable mugs, so when you drink beer out of them at a festival, you do not spill them. So yeah, it's not a measuring jug. It is a festival beer mug. So thanks for your observation. We talk a lot about what to do with rent to rent and how we make the money with rent to rent once we've got the house, tenant management, the contracts, all those sorts of things. And I think there's a bit of a gap in terms of knowledge around how to physically take. It's not a measuring jug. Everyone's asking me why I'm drinking out of a measuring jug. It's definitely not a measuring jug. Although maybe it could be used as one, I suppose. What would it measure, though? There's no lines. So there's this gap, right, in the figures bit. So what I'm going to do tonight is I am, in a second, in fact, you might as well do it now, just bung me some areas. Just put some names of places into the comments of where you want me to go and look. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the obvious places where you beer, yes, Frankie, beer. I'm going to take you to the obvious places that I go. I'm going to pull up a house. I'm going to do exactly what I do. Now, a lot of it I do kind of subconsciously. So now I do it subconsciously because I've been doing it for like 3.5 years now. So I can quite often look at a house and kind of after a few clicks know whether it's something I want to work on or not. But what I want to do tonight is I kind of want to go right back to basics, and I want to show you what I do in terms of what I look at on a Rightmove advert, what I read, what the focus of the things that I pick out from an advert, how I look at the photos, how I analyze the photographs. Once we've decided that actually, yeah, we want to explore it to the next level, I'm then going to show you the how we find the numbers, so the comparables, how we find the rental values that we'll be able to get in on a house. I'm going to show you, how to figure out what the operational costs are of that particular property. We'll do it live on that particular house that we found. I'm then going to show you, and we're going to do this inside of my rent to rent calculator. So you'll see the rent to rent calculator and how it all goes in. And I'm going to show you basically how to take all of that information, all that research, bung it into a calculator and actually give you a figure that you can afford to offer. Yeah. So one of the things, this is one of the like chunks of our 3-day boot camp that we do. So Kajita Wealth, my training with, I do it with Justin and Ross and Tina and Sunny. We do a 3-day, quite deep dive training course into sourcing rent to rents, identifying good deals from bad deals, not just rent to rents, but all sorts of deals. And we do 3 days on sourcing to keep and sourcing to sell. Now, one of the sessions inside of that, we do loads of stuff on these 3 days. We do we do live calls, we do live lead gen campaigns go out, we do all sorts of fun stuff. I think in the last one, you guys that were on it that I know are in here, I think it was 120 calls and emails we had going backwards and forwards in the room of actual live leads and viewings being booked and things like that. But there's a chunk that we do on financial analysis on the 3rd day and look at numbers. And so this session I'm going to do with you tonight, I've basically taken what we do live in that room on day 3 of boot camp, and I'm basically just going to do that little chunk of the 3-day boot camp into tonight's session. So I hope that kind of sets a scene, because what I want to be able to do is for you to be able to watch this process from start to finish. I've literally not got any idea how long it's going to take, because we need to just do it until we find a house that we would offer on. So it could be the 1st one, could be the 10th one, who knows? It's live, right? So I'm going to do that. And then what I'm going to do is get you to a point where actually at the end, you'll be able to say, this is what we would offer on that house and this is why. When you can justify your offer, when you can take an offer that's got some sort of science behind it to an agent or to a landlord, actually life becomes a little bit easier. Because you can stand by confidently behind your offer and say, well, actually, this is what I'm offering and this is why. So I'm going to try, and hopefully the technology will work and all will be well. So let me just check. Let's go through these areas. In fact, actually, I've got a poll I want to ask you guys if I can make it work. Okay, so hopefully in your little thing at the moment, publish, there should be a question on the screen somewhere that says, how much experience do you have with rent to rent? Just do me a favor and answer it less than 6 months or more than 6 months, because it's going to help me to tailor this content for you. Because if we need to go like right back to basics and you need me to explain what rent to rent even is, I'm happy to do that. I'm kind of just here to hang out with you guys tonight and answer any questions that you've got. Okay, so let me run that for like another 20 seconds. If you could all answer this for me, it will be really, really helpful. Try not to just ignore what I'm saying, because otherwise it's a pointless exercise you being here. So please answer. Well, we've got another like 15 seconds. I can see the numbers going up and down. This is cool. I'm quite impressed I got this poll to work all by myself. Well done, me. Okay, right, so we will stop the poll right there. Let's end. Oh, no. There's a couple of people still voting. 5, 4, 3, 2. Right, 1. We're ending the poll. Okay, so it says 85% of you have got less than 6 months experience with rent to rent, and 15% of you have got more than 6 months experience. So that's brilliant for me, because now I can make sure I tailor it to right early stages, which is fab. Okay, now I've got one more question I want to ask you as well. Do me a favour and answer this poll for me, please, which is, what do you find most difficult when working out the numbers for a rent to rent? Just whack in there which one you find the most difficult, because I can then make sure that I tailor this session tonight to be focused around the thing that you guys want it to be focused around, if that makes sense. So we've got, okay. Ooh, the numbers are going up and down. It's quite good fun from where I'm sat. Okay, cool. So we've got a lot of people saying it's the confidence to justify the offer. So with this, we're going to talk, I'm assuming what you guys mean by this is the confidence to justify a price reduction, actually. And the fact that our offer's low, to explain why our offer's low. That's usually the challenge. Okay, and so I will do that another like 5 seconds. Those of you that have clicked something else, can you do me a favour and just put in the comments what that something else is? So that, again, I don't miss it or skip it, or you don't come off of this session in like 45 minutes or so still not having your answer, because it's really important that you guys leave tonight with answers. So, okay, so comparables. So confidence to justify the offer is the highest one. And then we've actually got equal pretty much across the rest of them. So, okay. Right, let's end that there. Oh, there's a few people saying they can't hear me. So if you can't hear me, if you can hear me, just tell me that I'm still here. Yeah, okay, cool, right. I'm not even going to explain what you have to do if you can't hear me, because, well, you won't be able to hear me explaining it, so that would be pointless. Right, okay, right, we're going to do a screen share now. So the areas that you guys have given me, I've got in here. Let's have a look. What have we got? Okay, London, Birmingham, Chatham, Lewisham, Aylesbury, Glasgow, Pontypridd, Malden, Kettering, Wellingborough, Newcastle, Aylesbury again, Telford. What else we got? Okay, cool. So I'm basically just going to scroll and stop on one. Right, Aylesbury is the first one. So let me screen share. Hopefully this will work. Hold on. Cancel. Let's bring Rightmove out here. Ah! Bear with me, guys. I'm definitely going to make this work. It's just might not be the smoothest process ever. Okay, so let me screen share on. Right, so can you guys all see Rightmove? You should be able to. Can you see Rightmove? If you can, tell me you can. Yes, amazing. Okay, right. So let me just bring this down. In fact, let me just make this a bit wider for you guys. Okay, so Aylesbury was the first one, right? So we all recognise Rightmove. I'm going to start with Rightmove because it's the most obvious place to go. There's loads of other places you can go. Places like Gumtree, you can go to, you can put out your own marketing. You can walk into agents if you want to. But honestly, let's just start with Rightmove because it's free and it's easy and it's online. So you can do it in your pajamas if you want to, or you can do it from your phone. You can do it from your laptop. It really doesn't matter. So Rightmove, let's just type in Aylesbury, right? Okay, Aylesbury, Buckingham, start search. Obviously, we want properties to rent. So if it ends up on the properties to buy page, make sure you swap it over. Now, in terms of criteria, I'm just going to stick 5 miles just to give us a reasonably good radius. If you're selecting your specific area or you've got specific postcodes you want, then set this up how you want to set it up. But for me, for tonight, I'm just going to do it like this. In terms of price range, I'm just going to leave that blank because actually for me, price range doesn't matter. If the house works, the house works. Even if the house was 10 grand a month, if you could make 10 grand a month from it, it doesn't matter what you're paying in as long as you can get the money out. So price range, I would just leave it as is. Number of bedrooms. So for me personally, 4 to 5 beds are kind of where I specialize. That's the kind of group that I like. I don't like 3-bedroom houses. I know many people do rent to rent on 3-bedroom houses, but my objective for tonight is to show you what I do. So for me, 3-bedroom houses is not what I do. So I would put in here 4 to 5 beds. Now you can leave that as no max. That would bring in your 6s, your 7s and things like that. But then you get into planning permission type challenges. So 4 to 5 is kind of the sweet spot that I tend to focus on. Property type, houses. You can do rent to rent on flats, obviously, for things like service accommodation. You can do HMOs in flats as well. But houses are what we like most. That's kind of our top tier. Non-Article 4 areas, 2-story houses, 4 and 5 bedroom houses. That is where we generally focus. So let's hit this. So what I would do now, we can see the radius over here. Hopefully you can see my cursor wiggling about all over the place. We're in this is our kind of radius. I always then just sort lowest price first. That brings up the list of houses. So hopefully you can see that. So what we want to do is just basically start searching. So if I was doing this for the first time ever, I already know that I probably wouldn't go for the top 2 houses, but let me explain why that is, the ones that I can see on the screen here. So for me, although I don't mind semi-detached houses, I would prefer detached. So it's not, I would definitely not go for this house, but if I could find detached houses first, I would. Now looking at this house, so let's just flick through the photos. Let me tell you what it is I look for. So on this one, I can see there's a window here which tells me it's a 3-story house. So I don't want 3-story houses, and generally the reason I don't want 3-story houses is because although all houses have to have licenses now, that's it. Whether it's 2-story or 3-story, it doesn't matter. The second you go into a 3-story house, you have to have an upgraded fire alarm system. So you would have to have a grade A fire alarm panel system, all interlinked. And actually, when you start talking to landlords and agents about installing something at that level, they can sometimes freak out a little bit. So for the first couple of times, I would try and avoid 3-story until you've really got to grips with your pitching and your, really positioning the benefits and the features. So hopefully you can see, I wouldn't entertain this one straight away. So I would go straight back to the property listings. That one there, I would say no to. This one here is a terrace. So again, I probably wouldn't entertain this one. Once you click into the photos, you can see that actually, again, it's a 3-story. Whilst it's not in terrible condition, that's not going to work for us because it's a 3-story. So what have we got next? Let's have a look. So 4-bed detached. I like the look of this. So we've got, the reason I like the look of this, so let me explain it. It's 2-story. We've got a garage, which means we've got storage, which is always good. We've got car parking space off-road. It's detached, so we're going to have less issues around things like noise with the neighbours and all of that sort of stuff. So the first picture, on first kind of impressions there, I would say this is a house I would entertain. So now what I'm looking for are things like, has it ever had a HMO license before? Has it got fire doors already? Has it got closers? What's the condition like? How many bedrooms are there? What kind of space is it? Now, if there is a floor plan, the little floor plan tab would be just here. This one hasn't got a floor plan. But what we do know about this house already is that it's available in May. It says there. So it's a little bit far away in terms of if you want a house right now. However, you've got time to negotiate and you've got time to set it up right and you've got time to make it make sense. So actually, I would entertain this. If this wasn't available until like September, sometimes they do advertise them like really far in advance. If this wasn't available till then, I probably wouldn't entertain it. Okay, so It was added 11 days ago, which is fine. And we know we've got 4 bedrooms with an ensuite. So already we know that we've got 2 main bathrooms. So the rules on bathrooms are 5 to 1. You have to have 1 full family bathroom for every 5 people. However, when you've got 5 people sharing 1 bathroom, your rents are not going to be able to be at the highest levels, and your tenant retention is going to be low because people don't like sharing loads of bathrooms. So if you can have 2 bathrooms and you've only got 4 people sharing 1 bathroom, your tenant retention stats will go up, and your rents will be able to go up a little bit as well. Plus you'll have an ensuite room, which means you can charge more rent. So again, these are all the things that I'm noticing as I'm flicking through. What else have we noticed? Let's have a look. We've got a dining room. So we've got dining room, kitchen. No living room. That's weird. Oh no, lounge. There it is. So we've got lounge, dining room, kitchen. So depending on how big this kitchen is, you may actually find this is a 4-bedroom house. We've got 4 bedrooms upstairs with 1 ensuite, and you've got 2 reception rooms and a kitchen that's an okay size. So actually you could use this as 5 rooms, is what this is telling me straight off the bat. Okay, now we haven't got a floor plan, so to actually establish whether you've got things like independent rooms or walk-through rooms, you'd need to ring the agent. But at this point it looks like potentially we've got 5 rooms. So you've got 1 here, 1 over there. You've got kitchen, which is in quite nice condition. You wouldn't have to do huge amounts to that as long as it was clean. You'd need to put all your furniture and furniture like kettles and toasters and all that sort of stuff in it. So if you were going to make, if this was going to be a bedroom, one of these were going to be a bedroom, what this photo is, what I can see in the photo here is you've probably got a partition wall to put here to make sure that this room, the bedroom, had the right soundproofing, the right fire resistance and everything like that. This looks like it's probably the door to the kitchen or the door to the hallway. So I think probably one of these rooms could be used as a bedroom with still a space for a living room or a place for them to sit and eat their dinner, table and chairs and sofa or something like that, maybe a TV room, something like that. But this tells me, I think you'd be able to put 5 bedrooms into here. But to do that, you would need to put a partition wall here. So what that's then telling me is we've got a partition wall cost. So the cost for the stud wall, plasterboard, have it seamed and painted, skirting boards in the little gap. We've just literally had one done in a house last week, and that cost to literally exactly that, to do a double door. I think it cost us about £900 for it all to be done. So conservatory, again, we've got some more communal spaces, more living. You obviously can't have a conservatory as a bedroom. You're not allowed to do that, but this is like a secondary communal space. So you've got a dining room and maybe like a TV room or something like that, which is great because the more communal space you offer in a HMO, the more the higher the rents you can charge, but also the more retention, the higher retention you're going to get, because people want to stay in a comfortable place to live. Does that make sense? So okay, so let's let me see what else we've got here. So bedroom 1. That's the same bedroom. So what I'm doing here, by the way, is I'm counting how many bedrooms there are, and I'm looking at whether they are singles or doubles. So that's the same bedroom. We know that because of this picture on the wall. So we've got 1 double room there. We've got another room there. Bathroom. Could do a bit of a spruce up. We've got another room there. We've got another room there. There's the ensuite. Again, maybe do with a bit of a spruce, but you don't want to spend loads of money on a rent to rent, really, if you can help it. It looks clean, which is fine. This dark green colour is not great, but again, personal choice, and it might not need to be changed. So you don't want to put loads of cost where there doesn't need to be. And then you've got a pretty low maintenance garden. So we've got 4 bedrooms, 1 with an ensuite, and then a potential bedroom downstairs. So that is what we know. This house is 2 stories. It's got parking for 2 cars off road. It's got potentially 5 bedrooms. It would need licensing. It would need prepping for HMO rules. But actually, it looks like it could work. So from this now, the first thing we need to do is know the address, right? Most people like have a bit of a shock when this happens. So watch this carefully. Those of you that have drifted off into Facebook, bring your attention back to me for a second. So I'm going to show you just how to get the exact postcode of an address. So here, where it says broadband, show average broadband speeds. Click that button. Then here, compare broadband deals. Click that button. What will happen is if by magic, it will give you the postcode of the house there, HP21 8FU. So then what we need to do is go into spare room. And we also, while we are at it, need to open up the, hold on. Financial analysis calculator. Right, so because I can't see you guys, let me just come back to you all. So can you guys see the calculator now? That's what I've done to my hair quite now. Can you guys see the calculator? I know you can see my head really close. Yeah, okay, cool. Right, so I think I've got you all on the right tabs now. So you should be able to see spare room now. So I'm just gonna move a minute. All this technology. Right. Okay, so you should be able to see spare room. So we put the postcode in, hit search, right? Now, what we want to do is, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get the average room rent for the house that we're looking at, right? So there's two ways of doing it on spare room. The first one is on this page that comes up, which is the rooms for rent page. So you need to hit price lowest and it will bring up what the lowest price is. Then hit price highest and it will bring up the highest price. Add them together and divide them by the number of adverts there are, and you'll get the midpoint average. It's a really complicated, hard, complex way of doing it. Don't do it that way. So here's the cheat way, right? So you put your postcode in, go to rooms wanted over here, hit search, and over here, do you see that link there? Check average rents in this area. So it only works on the rooms wanted page, and what it is, it's a link that spare room have put together to show people looking for rooms what they should be paying so that they don't get ripped off. But what it does for us is it tells us what we can charge, right? So check average rents. Okay, so it's over here, right? So you've got HP21 Aylesbury, the room size, double or single, whether the bills are included, yes or no, average, minimum and maximum. Now I don't know why spare room don't do it minimum, mid and max. Who knows? It's a mystery. But what we're always looking at is this column here, the median column, right? So it's the midpoint average that we want to know. So this is where I need a calculator. So for a double room, and this is where you kind of start switching between tabs now, right? So what we're doing is we're doing this first section here, which is working out what our gross rental income will be on this particular house. So remember, we've got 5 rooms, 1 with an ensuite. Okay, so let's assume we've got 1 ensuite, 1 single and 3 doubles, because most houses have got 1 tiny room. We will assume that that has got a single. Those of you that have got my financial analysis calculator because you've already been on boot camp, then it should have these little drop downs where you can select the room type. So select 1 single, 1 double ensuite. If there's an ensuite, obviously, if there's no ensuite, then you won't be able to select it. And then the doubles for the rest of the room. Now, a little trick with this, we put 3/4 double beds in. We don't put full double beds in because we only ever want 1 person in the room. Means we can charge double rent prices, but actually having a slightly smaller bed means that you discourage lots of overnight guests. Not sure what to call them. People that are staying there that shouldn't be, basically boyfriends and girlfriends and things like that. So we have slightly smaller rooms, which gives beds, which gives more space in the room. So at this point, right, we've gone from our advert. We know we actually want to entertain this house. We've got our postcode. So now we know what the average rental is in that particular area. So let's look first of all at singles. So we've got, it says per week, you need to work it out what it is a month. So you've got 105, because we're looking at the one that includes bills. So 105 times 52 weeks in a year divided by 12 is £455 a month. So we go to here, per month, 455. Now remember, what we're doing here is using the midpoint average. We're not using the highest, we're not using the lowest, we're using the midpoint average. Now, generally speaking, the quality of your rooms are decided on, the level of your rent is decided on the quality of your room. So start with midpoint average. Most people running decent rent-to-rent businesses are putting rooms out that are midpoint to high. So actually, you might be able to find £10 or £15 extra in your rent. But if we work on midpoint average when we start and we do the analysis, what that means is that you're starting, you're not going to lose money if you have to bring the prices down. You're only going to make money if you have to bring the prices up. So I hope that makes sense. So our single, 455. Okay, you start to see that this calculator, again, those of you that haven't been on boot camp, you won't have this calculator, but you should be able to create your own, or come on boot camp and we'll give you a copy of it. Then we need to go to the next one. So this is double, bills included, £120 per week. Hold on, trusty calculator. Times by 52, divided by 12. It's 500. Hold on. Yeah, 520. So for the doubles here, we've got 520. 520. 520. Is that right? 520. Hold on. We love a bit of live. 120 times by 52 divided by 12. Yeah, 520. That's fine. So 520, 520. Now there's always going to be a slightly smaller room. So what I would do is I would just put 500 on there, because we want to be conservative. We don't want to assume that all the rooms will be at the moment, because we haven't seen the floor plan, we haven't seen room sizes or anything like that. We can only assume worst case scenario, not best. So I would put 500 in on that one. And then double ensuite. So again, it depends where you are. Here in Milton Keynes, we've got some of our en-suites. We can get 75 quid extra a month. Some we get 50. So it's always going to be more for an ensuite than it is for a double. People will always pay more for an ensuite than they will a double. So let's just assume it's an extra 50 quid on this one. Again, let's play worst case scenario and put that in there. So the calculator now is telling us that the gross rental in that we're likely to see is £2,565 a month when those rooms are full. Okay, we'll talk about voids in a minute. I need you guys to understand that your house is not always going to be full 100% of the time. If you're working your numbers out on 100% occupancy all the time, you're going to set yourself up to fail. So don't. Again, this calculator does it for you. So those of you that have been on boot camp, it does it for you. Those of you who haven't, I'll explain how voids are calculated in a minute. So we now are at a point we know what money we can get inwardly, right? But now what we need to do is work out what money we're going to spend on it, so that we can assess whether or not the rent that they're asking for of £1,300 we can pay. Oh, I don't know what that is. Whether we can pay it or not, or whether we can pay close to it, or what the situation is, right? So let me just come back to the comments thing. Are you guys keeping up with me so far? I feel like I'm going super, super fast. Caroline's asking, do you not have to check room sizes? Yeah, totally. At this point, we're doing kind of an initial appraisal before you make a call to an agent. So obviously, when you get on the phone to them, when you're talking to them, or you go to your viewing, then yes, you need to check your room sizes. But not all adverts will have room sizes on them at this stage. So what I'm trying to show you here is how you can actually get to the point where you know that it's worth going and doing that level of check, so that level of due diligence. It won't get a license if the rooms aren't big enough. If you've got a tiny little box room that you can't even fit a single bed and a wardrobe in, you're never going to be able to use that for a bedroom. But you can't always tell that just from a Rightmove advert. So this little stage here is kind of that initial desktop appraisal. You will need to make sure that when you come to actually, before you take on the house and you go to get things like your licenses and all that stuff done, that yes, it meets room sizes and all of that sort of stuff. So are you guys keeping up with me? Is it making sense? Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, cool. So let me jump. I've lost my bit now. Let me jump back. Okay, so we're now looking, hopefully you can see the spreadsheet. I just want to make it so it's full size for you, so you can see the whole thing plus the tabs. Right. Okay, cool. So we've done this first bit. That's gross rental money in. Okay, that's money that we're going to get paid inwards. Now what we need to do is work out our monthly expenditure, which is this section here. Now, because this is a calculator, what you're starting to probably see is that where we've put money in, or pounds and pence in over here, it's starting to like populate other parts of the spreadsheet. For now, ignore that because it doesn't all make sense until the last box is done. But because there's this financial analysis, there's a lot of formulas that sit behind it. You have to get to the end of the calculation before it actually has the right answers in all the boxes. Okay, so again, those that haven't been on bootcamp yet, this will make sense at the end. So the first thing now, rental amount is the first expense that we have to consider. However, what this calculation is that I'm showing you now is we're trying to work out what number goes in that box. Yeah, what we can afford to pay as a monthly rent to the agent or to the landlord or to whoever it is that we're sourcing. Okay, so for the first bit of this, leave that box blank. I'm going to tell you how we work out what goes in it in a sec. Utilities. So you can see on here it's already put a number in. Now, if I just show you, if I delete that £500 out of there, you'll see that utilities changes to 260. If I put that £500 back in, it goes up to 325. The reason for that is because we have £65 per room per month budget that goes against each person for gas, electric, water and TV license. So if it was only a 4-bed, so if I take that out again, you'll see it changes to 4-bed over here and it changes the utilities to 260, which is what it would be on a 4-bed. If I had it as a 6-bed, 500, change that. If we had another bedroom, for example, and I had another one, you can see it goes up to 390. It automatically populates it. So this one's 5 beds, we'll leave it at 5. Council tax. So we know the exact postcode because we've got it from our broadband thing here. Yeah. So there's a website which is my council tax. Oh, there you go. That proves that I go on it a lot. mycounciltax.org.uk. Right, postcode. Drop the postcode in there. Hit enter. Right, now we don't know the door number yet. Okay, well, actually, do we? Let's see. Is it on the door? Hold on. No, we can't really see it. That's fine. We don't need to see it at this point. So we can see here all the prices for that road. Always just pick the most expensive one on the road because if it's any less than that, it's extra profit. So we've got 2171 is the most expensive. Yeah. So let me just put this in. 2171 divided by 12. 181.91. So let's go with 180.91. So we'll go with £181. So 181 goes in our council tax box. Okay. So £50 for broadband. We've actually just done an 8-bedroom with Vodafone broadband. And I think it's £28 a month for the first 9 months, which is a bargain. Buffer and budget £50 a month in here for houses that are up to 5 beds. Anything over 5 beds, I'd probably jump up a level, maybe go for the £60 or so mark because streaming and the internet, they all want to stream all at the same time. So have the fastest possible internet that you can have. Don't go cheap because you'll lose tenants because of it. Okay, so insurance. This insurance here is your public liability insurance. So as a business, if you're a rent-to-rent business, you have to have public liability insurance. We also have rent guarantee and deposit replacement insurance. You may not have that. You might, insurance is a bit of a funny one because it'll always be different. I can't give you the price. Your insurance will be different to my insurance. It'll be different per house. If it's a 5-bed, it will be a different rent guarantee than if it was a 10-bed because of the different levels of rent. So with insurance, when we're doing this kind of initial appraisal level, I know this is a 5-bed. So I know that probably our insurance would be between about 30 and 40 quid per month for the actual house itself. So we'll put let's meet in the middle and put 35 quid in there. Repairs and maintenance. So again, with the repairs and maintenance, we know that we have a £20 per room per month budget that goes in for repairs and maintenance. This one's for an agent, okay? We only have a budget for repairs and maintenance if it's for a landlord, because we absorb the cost of repairs and maintenance. However, if it is through a Stephen's asking me to say that again. Which bit, Stephen? Oh, if the owner refuses to build the wall to make the other room, how do you manage that? The owner won't refuse to build it because I'll be paying and doing the building. So they won't be refusing. I'll just be telling them that we're doing it. Obviously, you have to tell them that you're going to do it. You're talking about the separation of the two rooms. You definitely have to tell them that you're doing it, but they're not going to pay for it. And you can take it out at the end. So there's no real reason for them to say no to that, I don't think. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, so repairs and maintenance. If it's for an agent, which this one is, actually, we leave our maintenance with our agents. We don't take the maintenance off them ever, because if you imagine, if you were a letting agent and you were speaking to me and I was saying, I'm going to do all the maintenance, I'm going to do all the repairs, our internal team are going to do all the work. As an agent, all they're hearing is that you're going to be taking away their revenue. You're going to be nicking their little bit that they add on to each repair that they get done, because they add on like 10, 15, 20% in some cases. Every call out, every gas fit, every leaky tap, they make a bit of cash. Okay. So we just leave the maintenance with the agent, okay, which means you can actually take that £100 maintenance and buffer budget out, because you don't, if you're not paying it, if the agent's going to be doing it, then you can pay that on top of the rent. If you are going to be doing it for a landlord, and this house is for a landlord direct, then you need to put a repairs and maintenance budget in there of £20 per room per month. So on this one, it would be £100. You just stick it in the box. But because this is an agent, we'll take it out. Okay. Cleaner. So a cleaner, we pay £10 an hour roughly in Milton Keynes. In other areas of the country, you guys will have different prices. Obviously, you need to decide what your area allows for. But in our area, it's £10 an hour, and we would get them to do an hour a week, right? So that's 52 weeks in a year times by £10, 520 divided by 12. £10 times by 52 divided by 12 is £43. So £43.33 a week, a month, sorry. So let's put 45 quid in there. Okay. Managing agent. I don't think rent to rent works for managing agent in. Controversial, I know, but for me, we self-manage all of ours. Once you've got about 4 houses, you can employ a property manager that just works for you and is your main person that does viewings and all that sort of stuff. If you put a managing agent in, it kind of defeats the object of taking the house off the agent in the first place. So for me, managing agents, I don't think they work. I think they'll kill most of your deals because you're going to have to pay them 10% plus VAT of the gross rental in. So in this case, it would be like £300, which is going to take your deal so low in terms of what you can offer. It's just not going to be worth doing. So it's in there as a line, but we never ever use managing agent because I don't see the point. Okay, so what we also want to do always is be making a profit. Okay, so we're starting to add up our costs here. Yeah. The profit and the rules we apply to our profit margins are it has to make a minimum of £100 net profit per month with voids considered. Otherwise, we wouldn't take it. Okay, so in this calculator, so that, again, those of you in boot camp, you will have this calculator just to explain how this box works. If you changed your minimum profit margins to 500 to 600, it adjusts what your offer can be. Okay, now we have £100 per room per month. So if I just take that back to 500, there's 5 rooms, so £500 is our minimum with voids considered. Okay, so what this is now telling me, okay, is that based on the gross rental in minus all of the costs that we've considered here, the most I can afford to pay is £1,215. So if I put £1,215 in my rent box, what that then does is recalculate this deal, okay, to show me that I'm making £500 net profit per room per month. That's this box here, with a margin test of 21.3%, which we always want to be working at 20% for rent to rent as a minimum. Okay, so this is 21.3, so that's good. Once this house is full, so on the months that this house is full, this house will be bringing £714 per month at 27.8% margin test. Okay, if I can get it for £1,215. Now it's on the market at 1,300. Yeah, this deal, in fact, if somebody else doesn't phone this deal tomorrow, I'm going to phone them myself. Okay, because that all day long works. There should be no reason at all why you can't get from £1,300 to £1,215, because of the level of like care that you're going to take over this property. The wear and tear is going to be reduced because they're working with you. You're looking after it more. You're a professional service. That it's a long-term agreement. All of these other reasons, you know, to get, what is it, 85 quid a month off all day long. That deal works all day long. Okay, now so that's, we've got gross rental in and we've got monthly expenditure. What we now need to just double check is the break even points, because you also don't want to be taking deals that take you like 5 years to break even, because, well, it just doesn't make sense, right? It's not good business. So let's assume if you were like me and you don't pay deposits, that would be a 0 in this box. But let's assume that we haven't got that nailed yet in our business. We've not got that skill yet. So let's assume we have to pay a month's rent as a deposit. So let's put £1,215 in there. And let's assume that the agent is charging us an admin fee, because on the 1st of June, when the admin fees disappear, they don't disappear for us as company tenants. We still will have to pay them. So let's say, for argument's sake, it was £350. My last referencing fee that I paid last week for the new one in Northampton was £350. So we'll just put that in there. Now, works. Let's skip back to this. Now, we can see that actually the condition of this house is pretty good. Really, the works that you're going to have to do on this house are the wall there, which let's say it was £1,000. I know that ours cost about £870, £900 that we had done last week. Let's say it was £1,000 for that, and the fire doors and all those sorts of things. Okay, so down here again on this calculator, you've got works required. It was broken down into each of the rooms of the house. Yeah. And just to show you how this works, if I type in, for example, where's the living room? Bedroom 8, where is it? Communal area, right? So we want to have a wall put in. And let's say we're estimating that's going to be £1,000. It populates this box, which then populates this box down here, which then populates that box there. Okay. Those of you Hello? Am I back? Hello, hello, hello. Oh no. Oh yeah, I'm back. Right, amazing. Okay, cool. Sorry, I thought I'd lost you all there. Right, okay, so amazing. Okay, so hopefully you guys saw that from this. Basically, I'm talking about the works calculator. So let me just run through the last little bit that I said. So over here in initial expenditure, works required. Okay, don't put it into that box. Don't type it there. Down here on the calculator, works required. Basically, I know that I need to build that wall into the lounge to split the lounge and the dining room up, and it's going to cost me £1,000. If I put £1,000 in there, it populates that box, which then populates that box, which then populates that box. Okay, if you write it directly into that box, you'll knock the formula out and the calculation won't work. So you need to make sure that if you're calculating your works, things like fire doors, etc., you put the works calculations in here. Now, for speed, I'm just going to basically put in here, let's say we had to do £1,000 to build the wall, and we also need to spend £3,000 on the HMO licensing stuff, just for argument's sake and because of time. So we've got a cost of £4,000. The works, £4,000 is in there. Okay, now we need to furnish it as well. So tailies, we don't put tailies in, so I'd leave that blank. Sofa, we've got a living room, so actually we probably would need to be putting a sofa in. We probably need to put a coffee table in the kitchen. Again, we can jump back. We've got a dishwasher. We actually can't see if it's got white goods or not, so let's just assume that it needs everything, right? So one of them. We're not going to put a tumble dryer in. It needs a microwave. We need a toaster. We need a kettle. You might want to put 2 kettles in. You need an ironing board, and you need a bin. Actually, I'd say you need probably 2 bins at least for 5 people. Mop and a bucket, cleaning pack. So you need 5 beds. We don't want tellies. We need 5 wardrobes. In fact, we don't, because there's a fitted wardrobe in one. So we need 4 wardrobes. Side tables, we need 5. Chest of drawers, we need 5. Desks, we need 5. 5 chairs. Okay. That then, and then let's say delivery charge. I know my guys charge like 150 quid for delivery. Let's put that in there. So now, hopefully, there you go. That populates the furniture required. Now, if, for example, hold on. Let me just check this. With white goods, just before we jump on, if I was having to put a washing machine in, I'd be asking the landlord to pay for that. If I was having to put a fridge freezer in, I'd be asking the landlord to pay for that. So it might be something we need to pay for, but I'd be asking for that to come off of the rent, because I don't think, I mean, most houses come with those anyway. I've only ever had one house that it didn't come with. If your house has not got white goods in it, ask the landlord to put them in, or ask them to pay for it and you go and put them in. So in terms of balancing that out, I would, unless you need to put in, so if you had a house that was going to be like more than 5 people, 6, 7, 8, those sorts of houses where you need to put extra washing machine, an extra fridge freezer, an extra tumble dryer or anything like that, then you'd want to make sure that that goes in there. The beds, so I actually pay £140 for my beds, but let's just leave it 150. We don't need tellers. Wardrobes, again, I don't pay anything like £200 for my wardrobes, but let's leave it like that for you guys. Okay. So we've now got monthly expenditure. We've got our gross rental in, so we know what our profits are going to be each month, and what we're now trying to work out is what is making sure we break even quickly enough. So the reason that and someone's asked me on here, why do I try and negotiate no deposits? What I want to show you is the reason why. So if you change that to 0, my break even's 10 months. Get rid of my admin fee. Again, break even at 10 months. If you pay the deposit, whilst the deposit is, you get it back, you can't do anything else with that money while it's there. So we take that out. Now I'm going to leave it in obviously for you guys because not everybody can do that or knows how to do that yet. We'll leave it in there. But this deal, the key facts that we now know about this particular house are we can pay 1215 max as our rent. We would break even in 12 months, a maximum occupancy. We need to spend £8,345 to get into it, including the deposit. Oh, and hold on, the admin fee. Let's put that here. And the admin fee. We know what our monthly costs are going to be. We know what our monthly profits are going to be. Now, we've worked on worst case scenario in terms of our money in, and we've worked on worst case scenario in terms of our money out, and we've worked on worst case scenario in terms of the money we're going to have to spend to get into the deal. Okay. Looking at this, I now know that this deal is a house that I would definitely want to entertain. Yeah. So let me come back to the comments. Okay, so yeah, you've all got that. Brilliant. So we've now got to a point where we've done the research we need in terms of the numbers. We've got to a point, we know it's on the market at 1,300, and we know that we can offer up to 1,215. So I would be probably going back to them and starting my negotiations around around that mark, 1,150. Okay, which, yes, it is a discount on the property, but the lower you can get it, the better. And just to put this into perspective, the house that we just took on, we took £600 a month off the advertised rent. It was advertised at 3,000. We got it for 2,400. So I don't want to hear anybody saying to me that it can't be done, that you can't get £100 or £200 off, because you can. Lots of people are doing it, but it's about making sure that you can position your service and the benefits of working with you. So the next step is to call this agent, whoever they are, Mortimer's estate agents. I should be calling them tomorrow, if none of you have already. And I'll be saying to them, this is a house I want. This is how we want to use it. I would be coming in with an offer of around £1,150 a month. Is it worth me coming to see it? And that would be that's the next point, is now to go and do the negotiation to get that offer of 1,150 accepted. But you've got the budget to be able to pay up to 1,215. Okay, so I'm going to come back to here now. Hi. And I'm going to come through. First of all, has that been helpful? Has that kind of just filled a couple of the gaps in terms of how we use the calculation, how we use the information to take it through? I can see there's loads of questions about HMO licensing. I'm going to come to that in a minute, because it's there's a really simple answer to this. Okay, cool. So that's been good. That's been good. Right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump right back to the beginning of all of the comments, and I'm basically just going to go through the questions one by one. And hopefully I've not missed anything. I may have lost a few, though, because of the crash that we seem to have in the middle. So if there was a question that you asked that I haven't answered, just put it in for me, because I can't go all the way back because we crashed for some reason. Okay, so let me see what we've got here. Ba, ba, ba. There's lots of cheering when I came back. How lovely. I feel very loved. Okay. Right, Frankie's asking me, how did I get to the tab? Do you mean the tab at the bottom of the calculator, i.e. the works tab and the furniture tab? So on the spreadsheet, so Frankie, for you, on the spreadsheet, there's tabs at the bottom, which are basically the different sheets of the actual spreadsheet itself. It's called the JR version, And I'll tell you why it's called the JR version, is because a guy called Jonathan Rayburn, who is a client of mine, friend of mine, he helped me create that spreadsheet, because those of you that know me know that spreadsheets blow my fucking mind up. I would normally do all of that just on a post-it note, on a scribble on a bit of paper, and that would mean my offer and done. But in order to be able to teach people to do it, there has to be a system, right? So the form that calculator was created by a guy called Jonathan Rayburn, who's my buddy, and that's why it's called the JR version, because I wanted to leave it named after him. So it's there. The second tab is the landlord's gross versus net calculator. The third tab is the works. The fourth tab is the furniture. The fifth tab is the one to use on the website. So the one that if you basically want a simple one that your clients can calculate on your website how they're going to make more money working with you than they would with a traditional letting agent, there's one on there for that, which you can basically just pick up and put into your website. So hopefully that answers your question, Frankie. Damien's asking, where can you get this calculator? Come on boot camp. So we give all of our financial analysis calculators to any of our bootcamp students. The next one's the 16th and 17th and 18th of April. I will tell you in a minute how you can join that. I don't want to go into that yet, but I'll answer that question right at the end. Tonight it's not really a massive sales pitch for anything. It really isn't. It was really more to help you, but I'm happy to obviously tell you how to be there if you want to know. Valeria, how much for a fire door? Well, different areas, different prices, because you're fitters mainly, but you can buy a fire door from Wix for 60 quid. It's just about getting them fitted and making sure the strips are in the right places and the closers are right, and you've got the right door handles and things like that. Just do some research in your area, ring up some guys that specialize in HMO conversions and get some prices of what a door is going to cost. I know in our area, so we've just done we've got a big it's a big giant service department is the best way to explain it. So it's quite a big house, 5-bedroom, 6-bedroom house, but it's being used as service accommodation. So the council came out, they told us what fire doors they wanted on which parts of the house, what spec they wanted them to go to, and so we've put in the spec that they asked for. There's slightly different specs for different prices for different specs. So in terms of what a fire door costs, actually you can get a fire door for 60 quid. The question is it the right spec for what you're doing with it? So again, speak to your council, speak to your housing officer, find out, and then get some quotes from people around you that can do that job for you. What else we got? Could you want another fridge in the garage? Frankie, maybe. If there's space for it, then yeah, maybe. Right, David George. To be clear, you'd get the landlord to pay for basic white goods, but if extra ones were required for 5+ people, then you'd pay for those, generally. Yeah. Oh, my cat's having a little turn in the corner. What are you doing? Yeah, generally white goods, we usually use the ones that the house comes with, but when you've got like 6 or 7 people, then you probably need to have an extra fridge, an extra freezer, because otherwise they're going to argue, and actually you then end up being the parent to petulant children rather than being a landlord to adults. So yeah, try and obviously go if you can, and you've got the space and things like that, then fit those things, because it's going to make your life as a landlord a bit easier. Angeli, hi Angeli, how are you? It was nice to see you in Croydon the other day. It was good to see you. Who covers appliance breakdown insurance? So it depends on the house. If the landlord's got appliance breakdown insurance, then leave it with them. I've only got one of our houses that has got appliance breakdown insurance, because actually if a washing machine breaks, it's like 150 quid. You can get I think it's Beko or Beko, Beko. You can get a decent, an all right washing machine that's going to last the 2 years of your contract for about 150 quid. We make enough money that actually paying another monthly expenditure, thinking that maybe something will break. Again, touch wood, touch massive wood. I've only ever had one washing machine go in 3.5 years, so I've not really needed to have breakdown insurance. It's an extra cost, monthly cost, that probably you don't need, but if we've got one house where they've got it and the landlord pays for it, so because he wanted to keep it, we didn't want it, but he did, so we said, well, you pay for it then. Paul Kirkman, what about the license fee? So yeah, again, license fee is different in every area in terms of what it costs. Speak to your council, ask them the question, how much does it cost? You need to make sure you factor that into the cost of your initial expenditure. Gary Durkin saying this would have to be a 5-year deal. No, it wouldn't have to be a 5-year deal. The one I've just shown you would work on a 3-year deal. So it breaks even after 12 months. So I would take that on a 3. That would make £714 a month every month once it was full, or 500-ish. What is it? 500 and... well, if I got it at 1150, which is where I'd start my negotiations, it would be over 5 years. You'd make 33,915 with voids every month. If you could have it at 100% occupancy, it's closer to 50,000, 46,740. So yeah, I think that deal, it works on 5 for sure, but it definitely works on 3 as well. You wouldn't have to have it for 5 years. You could take it for 3, but you know, sometimes with agents, they won't let you sign for 3 years. Sometimes you have to start with 2. We've just won one in Northampton last week. We took it for 2 with an extension. We took houses for a year with an extension. So if you're confident that you know that that house is not going to, they're not moving back into it, they're not gone traveling and coming back and those sorts of things, you know, 2 years are fine as long as you make money as quickly as possible. You don't have to have it for 5 years. 5 years is going to be a barrier to you selling, because not everyone will go for 5 years. Okay. How long should you go? Oh, that's the same question. How do you assess rental demand? So Jeff, there's a couple of ways to assess rental demand. A lot of people say to use spare room, rooms wanted versus rooms, my cat's saying hi, rooms wanted versus rooms advertised for. Now, the problem with that is that people don't take their adverts down once they're full. So whilst it can tell you, actually it doesn't always give you the full facts, if that makes sense. We use Facebook a lot, so we will put an advert up on Facebook to say, are you looking for rooms in this area? We've got rooms coming up. Again, it can't be an actual advert because you can't advertise something that doesn't exist. That would be not good. But we would put posts on Facebook to say, we've got room, we will have available rooms coming up in the next 3 months in this area. Are you interested? Please get in touch with us. And we would start to test the market. Obviously in Milton Keynes, I know the market. I know we've got like so much need. I'm not worried about taking new houses in Milton Keynes at all. In fact, I'd take all the houses there are. Although all my friends think I must have all the 4-bedroom houses that there are because there's no actual family 4-bedroom houses available anymore anywhere. But that's another matter. So I think in terms of assessing rental demand, actually ask the market. Go to market and ask them. But also look at things like what is available for rent on places like Rightmove, and what sort of costs and things like that. If you always, I think, so we talk about this a lot with my clients, with students of ours, put Prada product at Primark prices and your rooms will always be filled. Yeah, if you have rooms that are beautiful, rooms that people want to live in, and they're priced the same as the shitty rooms that nobody wants to live in, then your rooms will always be full. Does that make sense? So whilst you can test demand and you need to know your areas and things like that, at the same time, you're in control of the level of product you put out into the marketplace. And if you put a better product out than your competitor at a better price, then you won't have an issue around demand because your rooms will be the ones that get recommended. Your rooms will be the ones that will be full all the time. Okay, Clayton's asking, do you need 1 hob per tenant? You don't need to have 1 hob per tenant. That would mean having 5 hobs in a 5-bed. Unless I'm misunderstanding that question, I don't think you need to have 1 hob per tenant, no. But I have no grounds to answer that question. That is a council HMO officer question. Your council will be able to answer that for you. So what else we got? Natasha, there'll be a replay, so it should come to you if you can't hear today. Right, Roger Lawson, at what point do you mention rent to the agent? I don't ever say the words rent to anybody, apart from you guys when I'm teaching. I don't ever say the words rent to anybody. So that answers that question. We source property and provide accommodation to our clients. That is what we say. We do sublet. We absolutely tell them the truth. Just to kind of go back over that. It's not that I don't mention it. I don't tell them. What I mean is I don't use the phrase rent to rent because it's a really jargony phrase, actually. And when you say rent to rent and they don't know what it is, they're going to clam up and they're going to get confused. So we just call it subletting. It's the easiest way to do it. Contractor accommodation. We're your tenant. We're going to sublet to our client. Keep it simple. They understand it. And Roger, to answer your question as to when I mention it, literally after the first 3 things I ask on the phone, the next thing is we provide accommodation for our clients. So you're not going to live there. No, it won't be me. It'll be my client that lives there. Immediately is the answer, because if you take it all the way through to the end and they think you're going to be living there and then you don't, they're just going to get the ump. So I wouldn't do that if I were you. So hopefully that answers your question. The answer is straight away. Fire checks, if you need to do them, yes, you need to do them. Valeria, that'd be you as the operator. You need to make sure your people are safe. Yeah. Things like having your inspections done, your gas safety certificates, your electrical checks, all the other bits that you have to do, pat testing. Although portable appliance testing, it's not pat testing, is it? Because it's double T. Portable appliance testing is not a legal requirement. It's a recommendation. It's good practice. So all of those sorts of things we do, we pay for. So that should answer that question. Okay, so is 12 months not too long to break even? Yeah, I mean, 12 months is a long time to break even. That's why I don't pay deposits and I don't pay admin fees and I don't pay upfront rent, and I always get a rent-free period. But it takes a minute to be able to negotiate at that level, right? So we always, so the house we've literally just taken on, we've had the keys for 6 weeks, I think. We don't pay a penny out at all until Monday, tomorrow, 25th. We haven't paid a deposit, we haven't paid an admin fee, we haven't paid any rent up front. We've got people in there already living. We've already had our money in for the first month, so that will pay. We've had like effectively 2 weeks. Then we've had a month's money before we've ever even had to pay a penny out. So actually we break way sooner than 12 months on all of ours. What I've done in that calculation is I've shown you absolute worst case, never over 12 months ever, but that's worst case based on lowest possible rents that we're going to look at, and also the most money you're ever going to spend out in terms of a deposit and admin fees and like rent from day one and all that sort of stuff. So the answer to your question is, yeah, 12 months is a long time. Personally, I wouldn't be taking 12 months now, but I'm 3.5 years in and I can afford to walk away from deals. When I first started, would I have considered it? Probably. So I would still have negotiated pretty hard, but that's your decision in your business as to what you're comfortable with. For me, you want to break even as soon as you possibly can by keeping your initial expenditure as low as you possibly can. And the easiest way to do that is to pay no deposit and take insurance out instead. How to get the agent to let you the property? Steph, we just ask them. We just say, well, we're going to become your tenant and we're going to sublet it to our clients. We're a company. We're going to sublet it to our clients. A lot of the time, you're quite surprised almost. A lot of people, especially when I do my one-to-one days or we do our live calls on boot camp and things like that, people are quite surprised that when they follow the script, they just get a yes, yes, yes. And actually agents don't have a problem when you're honest and open about what you do, and you can just get to the point very quickly. So yeah, how do you get them to do it? You just ask them. Frankie, did I run today? I didn't run today, Frankie, because my ankle's swollen up, and I've had to go to physio today instead. So no, I did not run today, sadly. Although I've definitely seemed to have got the bug, because I missed running today. Yeah, I was a bit like sad that I wasn't out. So no, I didn't. How do you continue the conversation with an agent once he agrees you can view the house with the lower offer? I'll go and see it, and then ask when can I sign. I like to keep things as simple as humanly possible. In terms of the level of conversation, just answer the questions they ask you, but always be moving it forwards. I think the thing you have to really be clear on is the contract side of things. So especially with agents, you can't sign an AST. They'll want you to sign an AST. You can't sign an AST because you're a company. So the next bit of the jigsaw puzzle is contracts. So again, that's for a whole nother night. It's a whole nother chunk of boot camp that we do. Is talk about which contracts we have, when we have them, why we have them, and who needs to sign what and when. But the next conversation after we've decided we want it is to then talk about how to set the contract up. Frankie, good. I'm glad you found that. That's excellent. Roger Lawson, how do you phrase it? I'm calling from Rent Guaranteed UK. We source accommodation on behalf of our clients. I'd like to come and see X house. Can I ask you a few questions? That's as simple as it is. Stephen Gorman, does the owner need to have permission from their mortgage provider to rent their house out in this way? So, insurances, mortgages, anything where actually there is rules, you all have to have permission to do everything. Okay, just standard caveat. Service accommodation, you need to have the freeholder's permission, you need to have the management company's permission, lender's permission, insurance. Blah, 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 blah. The challenge we have as rent-to-rent operators is we have no way of checking that, in the same way that a letting agent doesn't have a way of checking that. So we take the same rule, the same position as a letting agent does in this. So when you rent your house out through a normal letting agent, the letting agent will ask you, do you have permission to let it? They will get that authority in writing from you, the landlord. They will also then put it into your contract that they've asked you, and you've given them confirmation that you've got consent to let the property, which then basically the landlord signs and says, yes, I've got the right permissions from my lender and I've got the right insurances. We have exactly the same process. So we ask the question, we get it in writing, and we contract it in that we've been shown, that we've been given the authority. We've asked the question, we've been told that they have got permission to let the property out in this way. It's ultimately the landlord's responsibility, but it's our responsibility to make sure that they're aware that they should be asking that question, because if they never ask it and we just kind of never tell them, that's when people get in trouble and that's when things go wrong. So yeah, it's important that we ask the question. I'll be really honest with you. I know there's loads of landlords that just never ask their mortgage company. That's a risk they're happy to take. That's on them. That's their problem. I'll be honest. When I had my first buy-to-let, my first residential house, I let it out without asking permission. That was a risk I was okay to take. I didn't want to change my product because I couldn't afford to. I don't have that house anymore, but you know, back ages ago, a few years ago, it was a risk I was willing to take as a landlord. I let it out through an agent. They asked me, I said yes. They signed, you know. So there are some people that don't mind taking the risk, but your responsibility, and it's so important, is that you make sure that you ask the question. You make sure that they're aware that there may be a question or a challenge, or it might be breaching the rules of their mortgage. If there is something in the mortgage that says they can't let it in this way. Most people, it says that it can't be AST to AST. Most lenders, it can't be AST to AST. Actually, with company lets, it's not AST to AST. It's company let to Ramoni AST, or it's company let to license. So again, clarity around how it works and what it is important for you to understand. But yeah, you definitely need to ask the question for sure. Jack, if you have a 2-story house that has a converted cellar, do you need the higher graded system? Yeah, because it's a 3-story. Unless you lock the cellar and don't give them access. But if you do that, some HMO officers still consider it as a 3-story risk. So yeah, you'd need to have it. Right, Margie. When I say don't pay for repairs, let the agent do that. But then I've also said in the same breath, don't use a managing agent. What am I talking about? Okay. So this house that we found on Rightmove is advertised through a letting agent. So they are the agent. So you've got the landlord that's using the agent to find the tenant. That's us. What I'm saying about not using a managing agent is to manage your tenant. So you've got, I need my whiteboard. So you've got landlord, agent, tenant, us, operator, and then residents that physically live in the house over here, right? What some people do is they get another managing agent, the other end, to manage the tenants that are living in the house between you, the operator, and the resident, so that it goes in the middle. I don't think you should do that. The agent that's advertising it for the landlord, you can't get rid of them. They're in it. Don't cut them out. What I'm saying is don't use an agent at the other end as well, because it costs loads of money. Stefan, there's not a rent-to-rent license as such, but HMO licenses from the HMO office of your local council. They will give you, in fact, if you go to the website, you'll be able to download the HMO guidelines. Provided your house meets those guidelines and is eligible, you will get your license. What do you agree with a estate agent for not paying deposits? Swetha, we take out a deposit replacement insurance. Stephen Gorman, we generally start at 5 years and work our way back. 3 to 5 is my favourite window. Angela, if I was packaging it for a fee, it would depend on the number of years I've secured it for. So if it was like 3 years, 3 grand, 4, 5, etc., etc. Sam Fox, yes, we pay for the fire doors if we're putting them in. But again, we ask for a rent-free period, which actually means that they pay for it. So we ask for like the first 4 weeks rent-free, so we can have the house dressed, made compliant and furnished. So we ask for 4 weeks for that. Does location matter? Only if you, in the way that, like, if you're trying to put, like, for example, Milton Keynes, there's a very specific demand here for like working professional white collar. We do have some blue collar, but if you were in somewhere like the middle of, I don't know, Hull, maybe senior level white collar is the wrong tenant type. So your location matters. Rent to rent works pretty much everywhere, because if HMO doesn't work, then SA might. If SA doesn't work, then back to back might. Generally for HMO, you want like a 10-minute rule, 10 minutes from the train station, 10 minutes from the city centre, 10 minutes from the shops, 10 minutes from those sorts of places. For SA, you want like 10 minutes from the closest, what's the word? Point of interest? What's the word? Like a zoo. I can't think what they're called. Oh, I'm sure you guys will help me out. 10-minute rule anyway. Valeria, we negotiate the extension at the point we sign the contract. Steve Nichols, if you've had the house for 3 years, would you have to take the wall back out? If the landlord wanted you to, yes. If that's what you've committed to, then yes. How many extra bedrooms do you need to get out of the reception room as a minimum? You'd only get one room out of that reception room. Yeah, one. Where do I get the bed in? B&M's, and we charge for it. So if we move a tenant in and they're taking a fully dressed room, then I know that my bedding costs me about 25 quid for a room, for like a quilt cover. Well, it's for a sheet, a quilt cover and a pillowcase. A pillow and a quilt is actually about 30 quid from B&M's. I charge £50. So when a tenant moves in, if they take the bedding pack, we just add £50 onto their admin fee at the beginning, or their first month's rent. I love that you call them inmates, Frankie. It cracks me up. If they want to bring their own, then we just take the bedding pack out and then we use it. We've basically got a stock of bedding packs that we use to dress rooms as and when we need to. There's a few people asking me, like, how can they get the full script? So I haven't really got time to give you all the full script tonight. My advice to you is to come on boot camp, because you'll be making those calls in the room with us to help you with the full script. It's a discovery call, though, basically. It's all about asking the right questions and getting to understand what they actually need in terms of you taking the house. So ask good questions and you'll be able to structure your deal the right way. Gary Durkin's asking me about referencing. So referencing, standard referencing with agents especially, you will have to meet a certain criteria, which is usually 3 years trading history. Yeah, some of you might have hit that. I have only been trading since November 2015. My incorporated company, if you look on Company's House, was incorporated in December 2015. I think it was the 15th or 16th of December. Okay, so up until December of last year, I'd never passed referencing. In fact, I'd never had a reference done on me, because I have the conversation at the beginning, which is, I'm not going to pass referencing. I'm in my first 12 months of trading. What needs to happen to negate the need for you to reference me? And they will give you some options. Usually it's a guarantor or upfront rent. You don't want either of those, really. So you then suggest insurance instead. So we've always done insurance, rent guarantee insurance. So yeah, referencing isn't a problem. Just tell them you don't want to be referenced. And what needs to happen? What needs to happen so that isn't a problem? And they usually can give you an answer. They want to do business just as much as you want to do business. You know, they want to get rid of that house because they don't get paid until they've done it. So they'll want to give you the answer. Cy Humphreys, how do we introduce the third party if we're going to be selling the deal? We're sourcing on behalf. We are sourcing on behalf of a client always. That means that if it's a client of mine locally that I'm going to put in the house, then it's still a client. If it's a direct tenant, they're still a client. If it's an investor taking the deal to run it, they're still a client. We're sourcing on behalf of a client. Margie, I haven't got time to go into contracts tonight because it's quite a big topic. And my intention was only to be on here for an hour, and I've just seen that I've been on here for an hour and a half. So well done to you all for staying around. But I definitely haven't got another like half an hour of contract conversation. Again, I'd say come to boot camp because we do it all at boot camp. Sarah Kerr, have a possible rent to member agent and landlord have asked for references, but this would be my one. Okay, so tell them if you are in your first 12 months of trading, tell them you're in your first months of trading, you're not going to pass referencing. What needs to happen for that not to be a problem? If it's pay up front rent, you know, if you've got the money, pay it. If you haven't, take out an insurance. If anyone needs help with the insurance, by the way, I can... Richard O'Neill, who's in my Facebook group, Property Insurance Hub, speak to him. He does all of our insurance. Fozia, would you offer first or view first? So it depends on your strategy, I guess. I don't really see anything until... That's not true. Okay, so I don't see anything outside of about a 35-minute radius of where I live until I've offered. If I'm local and I can just like pop to see it on the way home or on the way into the office, something like that, then I will go and see it first and then I'll offer. You know, last week I was at viewings. I went to see a house in Northampton last week. I went to see a house in Bedford last week. I've been to see sites. So anything that's local to me, I will go and see because generally I'm going to keep those. So I'm the investor in that world. But anything outside of that, I wouldn't ever even go and see at all. So yeah, I'd always offer first. I've done all these ones. When you say you're going to sublet the property, doesn't the landlord back off? Not really. As long as you say it, yes, I'm going to sublet it, and this is what we do, and this is how it's going to be great for you. If you say, oh, yeah, so I'm going to sublet it. Tonality. Jordan Belfort. Look up Jordan Belfort. He does a great session on YouTube about tonality. There's a real difference between, oh, yeah, we're going to sublet it, and yes, we're going to sublet it. Deliver it with confidence. They won't back off unless you do. If you're not confident in what you do and that it's okay, you don't believe in it, then they're not going to believe in it either. So it just depends how you say it, Stefan, really. Attraction. Jeff Hart, you get 10 points. That is the word I wanted. Attraction. Local attractions like zoos. Thank you very much for that. Memory, I would say yes, join the property ombudsman or redress scheme. Rent to rent's a bit of a grey area in that it's because the ombudsman that haven't really caught up with rent to rent yet. They don't really understand it as a strategy, but they are switching on to it. I would say definitely be a member of one of them, because you're in the fact that you are running tenants and you are to a degree acting like a letting agent. We typically just work with the rules of letting agents under the ombudsman in that capacity. When we're packaging deals, we're working under the ombudsman rules for estate agency, negotiating and buying and selling of real estate. With just operating as a rent-to-rent operator, I'd say you need to work to the rules of lettings. Things like your deposit protection and all of that sort of stuff, deposit DPS schemes and things. So, yeah, join one of those, I'd say. Roger, the actual rules are 5 to 1 on bathrooms. Again, check with your local council, but 5 to 1. The reason you want to have as many bathrooms as possible is because your retention of your tenants will be lower the less bathrooms you have, because people don't like sharing bathrooms generally. Stephen Gorman, how much is boot camp? Well, seeing as you've asked, I'm happy to tell you. So the deal with boot camp actually is, I quite like this. It's the price is £1,497 plus VAT. But what we do as a business is a bit different to what most people do. And that is that I know that what we teach works, and I know that what we teach is practical, like workshop type work. You're not going to just come and listen to me talk at you for 3 days, because that would be boring and my voice would go. So rather than that, what we do is we get you to do some actual work. So Stephen, the way that we do it is we actually charge you £197 plus VAT, and that is basically a commitment fee. You're committing to coming to the 3 days. The price is £1,497, so you would have to pay the balance, obviously, but it's £197 plus VAT to secure your place. And then after you've been on the first day, and I've shown you what we do, and you've got some leads, most people's phones are ringing and they're booking viewings on the first day, because what we do is quite, we just get to it and just get you working. Then after the first day, you clear your balance, which basically puts the ball in my court to fuck it up. And to not deliver on the promises that I make. I know 100% what we teach works, and I know that you're going to move your business forward leaps and bounds by being on our boot camp. And so I'm happy to wait for you to pay me once I've proven it, rather than ask you to pay a big chunk of money up front. You know, for me, it makes sense to do it that way. So I'll drop a link, Stephen, in a minute into here so that you can see how to actually book that if you want to. Hold on, I can probably do that here. Hold on. There should be a link. So anybody who wants to book onto bootcamp, pay £197, they can just click that link and do it. The dates are the 16th, 17th and 18th of April. And yeah, it's quite a small group. So and also it's not just me. There's me, Justin Whittemore, Ross, Tina and Sunny, who are all very successful property entrepreneurs in their own right. All have run sourcing and rent-to-rent businesses, service accommodation businesses, development companies, and we all deliver as a team, and we coach you to build your business how you want. So a mix of strategies. We do social media magic. We send out actual live lead generation campaigns for your business on the day. We build your investor list for you. So you actually leave with investors that actually can bring money to the table. I can't even remember what else we do. We do a lot of other stuff. What else do? We do all the financial analysis. So tonight's been a big chunk about rent to rent financial analysis. There's a big chunk about buy, refurb, refinance, HMO, service accommodation. So yeah, Stephen Gorman, come on bootcamp. Okay, what else have we got in here? Do you charge deposit from the tenant, and where would you add a deposit? So Stefan, yes, we do charge deposits, but you can't use a deposit as money in your business because it's not your money. So you can't put that money into the spreadsheet and into the financial calculations because you can't use it as money in the business. You're not allowed. You have to have that protected. So if you take a deposit, you have to put it into DPS, or other schemes are available. You have to protect that money. So you can't put it in your spreadsheet. So you wouldn't put it in anywhere. Angeli, yes, I think it is recording. I believe so. Michelle, if you were in Article 4 area, would you approach suitable homes for sale on the off chance they'd rent to rent? Well, I'm in an Article 4 area. And yes, I have approached homes that are for sale. But Article 4 doesn't necessarily impact rent to rent as a model. What it impacts is the permission to convert a house from C3 to C4 without planning permission. So if you're in an Article 4 area, whether it's on for sale or for let, the same rules still apply. I'm not sure if that answers your question, because I'm not sure I understand the question fully. If that has answered it, then let me know. If it hasn't, then also let me know and I can answer it for you. Gary Durkin, thanks. I've loved talking to you tonight, so good times. Sue Morton, bootcamp is fab, do not miss. Are you coming, Sue, in April? Right, Valeria's asking Richard O'Neill. And you need, so we've got a few different insurances with Richard. The reason I recommend Richard is that so I've worked with him for nearly 2 years, and I personally built the products. So I'm not even going to lie, it was painful because I'm not really good at detail-y type techie stuff. I sat in rooms with really, really suited and booted insurance broker people writing products. Okay, so I know that these products exist and they exist correctly. They're fit for rent to rent, they're fit for packaging, they're fit for rent guarantee, they're fit for HMO, they're fit for everything. So Richard O'Neill at the Property Insurance Hub, he is, I tell you what, I'll just make this quicker. Let me just get his email address and I'll give you all his number and all his email address. He's gonna love me. Hold on, I'm on my other little screen now. Wait there. Let me get it for you. So yeah, he's got professional indemnity insurance. He's got PI. What is it? PI insurance. Insurance. Must be at dcib.co.uk. Right, let me copy and paste this here. Well. Right, that's his email address. There you go, Valeria. Hopefully that answers your question. Steve McGlynn, bootcamp is fab. Best training you've had. Amazing. I'll take that all day long. Okay, Veronica. I'm excited to meet you, Veronica, because you're coming on bootcamp, aren't you, in April? Amazing. When making offers without viewing a property, would the agent stop showing property without receiving a deposit, insurance? No, you can't expect them to either. Yeah, you can't expect any business to stop doing business on the word of a stranger. Yeah, so if you're making offers, then you need to like put your money where your mouth is before they'll take it off the market. But that's fine, because if you are happy with your offer and they've accepted it, then pay your referencing fee or pay your first month's rent or whatever it takes to get it sorted. Sarah Kerr, can you bring partners to boot camp for the price of 1497? They're half price for business partners. So you can bring a business partner, but it would be, instead of 1497, I think it's 798.50 plus that. That is my I think it's half price anyway. So yes, you can bring, but again, on that you can both pay 197 now and then pay the balance of the two of you after the training if you want to. Obviously if you want to pay your balance now, feel free, but I don't need you to. I'm happy for you to pay your balance once you've seen that what we do is different to everybody else. Stefan, when is the next boot camp after April? Stephen Gorman, just need a pass from the wife. Good job. When is the next boot camp after April? At the moment, Stefan, we don't know is the answer. The 16th, 17th and 18th of April is firm in the diary, definitely happening. I don't know after that at the moment. For me, and again, what most people know about us and me is that training is like my secondary. My property business is first, and so my property business takes priority. You know, we've got deals coming up, we've got some conversions, we've got offers accepted on plots of lands to build flats. So in truth, I don't know when the next dates are going to be. I'm sure there will be another boot camp at some point. When is, I do not know. So come in April is my message to you. It's going to be ace. And also because it's midweek rather than weekends, agents are all going to be open. We're going to be able to absolutely like nail phone calls. I'm restructuring it and putting extra calls in this time, so it's going to be ace. Okay. Michelle, I've never seen a HMO for rent, only for sale. Are you taking C3 and turning them into C4 and Article 4 areas? In some cases, yeah, because we just apply for the planning permission. Once we've got the planning permission, you can convert C3 to C4. You just have to apply for planning permission. Article 4 doesn't mean you can't do C3 to C4. It means you have to ask permission to do it. So, yeah, the answer is yes. But you can also get whole HMOs for rent. So Liam Smith and Colette, who are on my mastermind, have just got a 6-bed, fully licensed, fully regular, fully compliant, 6-bed HMO in Newport in Wales. And that was a full HMO available for rent empty, and they took that off of an agent and they're making like £900 a month off it. So Michelle, they definitely exist. They're definitely out there. You just have to know where to look and how to look. Steve Edwards, you're very welcome. Thank you for tuning in for the evening. It's been fun. Frankie, do you get everything for B&M? I love B&M because it's so cheap. B&M is a win. But no, we don't always get everything from B&M. We don't get our beds from B&M. We get them from Bed World on eBay. And then we get our furniture from the little man down the road by the gym in Wolverton. His name's Shaz. And he's in my phone as Shaz Furniture Man. That's all I know about him. He's a lovely little man. He delivers the furniture fully built, puts it in the rooms, all done. I pay him cash. He's a lovely little guy. So I'm sure most people have got a little Shaz, little warehouse somewhere in their town. Just find it and you get good, cheap, good quality furniture. AD, you're good. You know your stuff. I do know my stuff, and it's because I do this all the time. It's what I do all day, every day. I'm excited because tomorrow's Monday, which means it's my day hitting the phones for sorting my own rents tomorrow. So me and David are hitting the phones tomorrow, so that'll be good. But thank you for your feedback. Right, I think we're pretty much at the end for all your questions now. Keenan, you're very welcome. When are we going to see you on boot camp, Keenan? Make it happen. I'm excited to meet you. You are lovely. Oh, thanks, Valeria. You are also lovely. Veronica, that's fine. Can you pay on the never, never? Clayton, do you mean pay for boot camp or pay for your rent to rent? Please clarify before I answer this. Frankie, you're very welcome. Yoko, the license between the council and the landlord, and the tenants have ASTs with the landlord. I'm not sure I understand your question. Are you asking me, is the license in the name of the landlord or in the name of you? And do the tenants have ASTs with you as the operator or the landlord's direct? I think that's what you're asking me. The tenants would have Ramoni ASTs with you, but you do have to name the owner because that's a standard practice. So you would just put their name on like a normal letting agent does. If they have licenses, you can have that with you. In terms of the actual HMO license, if that's what you're talking about, then yeah, you actually can have it in the landlord's name, or the landlord can appoint you an interested party and the license can actually be in your name. When you download the HMO register, you'll see this. There'll be the address, there'll be the name, and sometimes you've got managing agents' names in there, and it's because the landlord's appointed that agent as their license contact. And so actually it can be either. Yoko, I hope that answers your question. Vicky, what is your Facebook page? Do you mean the training Facebook page or the property Facebook page? Let me know. Jack, please record some calls tomorrow. I'm going to record calls on Friday. You'll know what that means. But I might do some tomorrow. I might do. We'll see. I always forget about recording calls, but I will. I know I have got to do some, and I am gonna do it. I am gonna do it. Clayton, can you pay for boot camp on the Never Never? I'm not really even sure what that means. You definitely have to pay for it, but if you're asking me, is there a payment plan possible? Then yes. What I would suggest is the £197, and then the balance is, I think, the best deal. But if it needs to be a different structure to that, and you need to make it work in a different way, then I would say give me a call tomorrow. Give my team a call. In fact, let me put the number in here. Give Peter a ring, because Peter will answer all your questions. I'll be on the phone tomorrow sourcing deals, so it won't be me, but Peter, who is my absolute wizard in my office, his number is 07768 971127 Peter. Okay, and call him, and he will be able to tell. He'll basically ask you what you want it to look like, and if we can make it work, then it sounds good to me. Steph, you're very welcome. I hope it's been useful. David, you're very welcome. Keenan, make it happen in April. Do it, do it, do it. I just like to hang out with you all. I just get very excited. Okay, John Bellingham, does your boot camp training include everything I would need to actually go and do rent-to-rent deals, i.e. legal contracts, agreements, etc.? Would I leave the training still needing more documents, info, further, more advanced training? Okay, so I will be really honest about this. You get absolutely everything for boot camp that you need. The only thing I don't give you is the contracts, and that's because we don't actually give our contracts out. We have sample templates, and we do a whole session on contracts, what they are, why you need them. Actually, I always recommend that your contracts should really come from a solicitor if you can help it. The masterminders, so my solicitor has agreed that anyone that's in ongoing training with us can utilize the template, and our insurance covers us to utilize the template. So anyone on mastermind gets our common law tenancy agreement. A company let agreement you can probably download, or we actually use the ones the agents send us, so it's not even our contract. But yes, I can give you a sample of that. That's no problem. ASTs, we just use the one that's from like the NLA. So yeah, we can get you a copy of that. The only agreement that we don't give out, which is the main agreement, there's two, is the sourcing agreement, which is my contract between my investor and if I'm packaging me and my investor, which is not really what we've talked about tonight at all, and the common law tenancy, which is the tenancy agreement we use for rent to rent. That is the only little bit of document that we don't give you, but we give you absolutely everything else, all the financial calculators. We do a whole session though on contracts, what needs to be in a contract, why you need it, what ones are the right ones, and everything like that. In terms of what else you get on bootcamp, all the financial analysis calculators for all of the models that we do, a workbook which is about this thick, You get live. So for us, actually, boot camp is more about you leaving the room with a business plan and leads and viewings booked and having conversations and feeling confident enough to go out and have those viewings and have those conversations so that you've got leads. Most of the times when you're dealing with agents, they're going to send you their contract anyway. So I don't think it's not going to be a barrier, John. But listen, pay the £197. Come, you'll get it all. As soon as you book, we send you the pack. So you can be we also give you like 50 videos from me so that you can start sourcing rent to rent straight away. You know, if you pay £197 and actually I fuck it up and you never come back again, you can keep all that stuff. I'm not fussed. I 100% know it's going to work. So I'm happy to give you whatever it is that you need. It's all there. So yeah, come, pay the £197. Come, see what it's about. Come and get to know us. See how you can work with us and go from there. Margie, you're very welcome. Cy Humphreys, how much is mastermind? So it depends on whether you pay in one chunk, in 4 chunks, or over 13 months. It's a 13-month program, not only for tonight. And I really don't want tonight to turn into a big sales pitch at all. So actually what I'd say, Si, is I will make a note of your name. We'll have your number from you registering for this webinar. Hopefully you've put in the right details. I will get someone from my office to call you. In fact, I might even call you and we'll just talk for it and see whether it's even right for you, because I need to make sure that I'm the right mentor for you and we're going to get the best out of you. So yeah, let me call you about that. Michelle Phelps, what was the name of the tonality book? Keena's actually answered it. So it's not a book. Jordan Belfort there's a video on YouTube that he did. It's all about tonality, straight line persuasion, and it's all about how you talk. So there's such a difference in if you deliver with confidence. You know, this is like when you're on the phone. This is one of the things, right, that I can tell when I'm on the phone to somebody that's sitting like this, because they talk down and their tone is. Whereas if you stand up and you walk around when you're on the phone, you use your hands and your energy. You know, most of my guys in my office know that when I'm on a sales call, I'm walking around, or I'm outside in the street and I'm walking up and down and my arms are flailing everywhere. And it's because I'm in the call and I believe it and I'm confident and I know it. Whereas if you're on a phone and you're really scared, like people can tell that tonality has such an influence over people. You know, it's really important that if you're not good on the phone, that you study tonality and you get used to understanding by recording your own calls and listening back to yourself, whether your tonality is having the influence that you want. Sam Fox, will you be doing more webinars in the future? Totally, for sure. I love a little webinar. Yeah, 100%. Ophelia, no, a common law tenancy is not the same as a lease contract. Lynn saying, when she first walked into boot camp and saw the size of the workbook, I knew at last I was in the right place. Lynn probably wouldn't mind me saying, has worked with a few trainers, and actually, I think if you remember correctly, you said you learned more in the first hour of what I taught you from what you'd learned in almost a year. So that is a win in my book. Natasha, see you on boot camp. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Keenan dropped me a boot camp message. Yeah, totally. Right, I've got to the top and there's no more messages, so I'm stopping. I was just kept scrolling. Guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I was on here for way longer than I was expecting to be. But hey, I hope it's been helpful. I hope it was time well spent for you. And I hope it helps you moving into this week. I hope you can go and get some deals over the line. If I can help you with anything else at all, please just holler at me. My Facebook group, the Property Deal Sourcing Hub, there's always loads of content in there. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Why aren't you on there already? Subscribe. All of this sort of content, I'm going to make sure it goes on there. And listen, if you've ever got any questions for me, just ping me a message. I'm always on Facebook. We always get to hang out and we can talk. And if I can help you, I'm absolutely glad to. Have a lovely, lovely evening, whatever you're doing for the rest of tonight. And have an amazing week. Go out, smash it, be confident. Just go at it, bring your A game. And honestly, it'll all come together, I promise. Catch you later. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely evening. Bye.